You're listening to Autumn on the Air, the weekly podcast that brings you conversations about the impact of research commercialization and the people who make it happen. Join us for interviews with patent and licensing professionals, innovators, entrepreneurs, and tech transfer leaders on the issues and trends that matter most. Keep listening for an inside track on the people, IP policies, and politics changing our world.
Welcome to Autumn on the Air. Today we're thrilled to have with us Dr. Anne Levillier, Professor of Atomic Physics at Lund University and the 2023 Nobel Prize winner in Physics. Anne was awarded this prestigious honor for her groundbreaking work in experimental methods that generate attosecond pulses of light for the study of electron dynamics in matter. And by way of background, an attosecond is a billionth of a second. To put that in context, there are more attoseconds in a second than there are seconds in the age of the entire universe, which is 13.8 billion years old. With that introduction, welcome to the podcast, Anne.
Hello.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Really excited to have you here. And, you're very well known for your work in atomic physics. Tell us, what interested you to get into physics? Was it something that inspired you from a young age, or how exactly did that all come about?
To be honest, I don't really remember. I thought all my life I have wanted to go into to do science, and especially physics, mathematics, and physics. I had the chance to be in a very good family environment with my grandfather, being an engineer in radio, teacher, and also my father was an engineer in computer science. So
you kind of took from their examples.
Yeah.
And then, physics is a pretty broad category. So what led you to atomic physics, of all things?
There I can say without hesitation, good teachers. Towards the end of my university studies in atomic physics and quantum mechanics, that really pushed my interest into atomic physics and interaction with between light and matter.
Yeah, really, really interesting. And you're known for your work in attosecond physics, and that actually was the reason you won the Nobel Prize. And you went on to do research, and I understand you're an amazing teacher as well. And the day the Royal Swedish Academy scientists tried to get a hold of you about the Nobel Prize, you were teaching. And I understand you're very dedicated on your teaching. You had your phone off. They couldn't reach you. They reached your husband, who said, look, she's got her phone off. She's got a little bit of a break. You checked your phone during the break, right? And then you called them and said, hey, look, I'm teaching class. I'll can we catch up on this later? You went back and you ended class, I think like 5 minutes early from what I read. And your students were a little bit suspicious because I guess, that was unusual for you. And then you, I guess, called the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences back. What was that experience like for you? It must have been a little bit surreal. And then how did your students react?
Yeah, I mean, it's first of all, you do not call the Royal Academy of Science; they call you. So they called me during the break, and this is how I heard the news. And at the same time, so they asked me to stay on the phone, but I had 100 students waiting for me, so I had to go back to them. And at the same time, I could not tell the truth to them because it was still secret 1 more hour. And but I think they guessed, and I was not myself. I was a bit shocked, and what should I do? A bit stressed, and also very happy. But it was difficult to feel that because it was so complicated. But I managed to teach the end of the class, finish a little bit earlier because they made me promise to come back for the press conference in time. And in my office then. But I think the students guessed. They actually they gave me a applaud, and I tell them, what did I say? But and then after I left, they watch live the press conference. So it was very nice. What I can add is that for me, teaching is really part of my work. I do research, but I also teach, and it's a very nice part of it. And I enjoy teaching very much.
And I assume you're still teaching now?
I'm still teaching, but next year, actually, this coming year, I'm going down a little bit because I go around very very much now and tell about the Nobel Prize and at all levels, including small children or high schools. And this is nothing else but teaching. So I thought I teach a little less to my normal classes and do a lot of this kind of Nobel related activities.
Now, I think you were one of 5 women who have received the Nobel Prize in physics. And I wanted to ask you, not a lot of women go into physics, or even young girls are thinking about physics. What can we do to help foster more inclusive environments to attract more girls to physics?
I think first, one should try to reduce the idea that girls don't do physics or math or engineering. They should do something else. That's really wrong. And unfortunately, you have this type of stereotypes. So this is something to fight against at very early age. I think really school. And this has to be done by the parents and by the school, the teachers, to encourage young girls to go into science if this is what they like and this is what they are good at. So that's one thing, probably the most important. And then the second thing is, of course, to try to encourage students and also to continue into science and also to tell the young girls that you can have a career in science and have a family. It's not impossible. It's really possible. Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about your research now. You're still doing your research. Talk to us about what you're working on and what maybe some of the practical applications are of that research.
Yeah, I mean, we are working with attosecond pulses and try to use them to look at electron motion and electronic transition. And one thing we're doing is we're trying to really apply that to the quantum description of matter. So combine this possibility to with looking at for example the electron as a quantum with a certain quantum state. So towards quantum optics, I would like to say, but using electrons as our quantum objects. So that's one direction. Another direction, which is, I think, really a challenge in our field, is to look at more complex systems like molecules and biomolecules or condensed matter or chiral molecules. So there are many things to do, and that is, I would say, a challenge of this field. There is an application much more towards industry, which is to use this radiation to as a tool to as a metrology tool for computer wafers. So that I think is a very nice application that is much closer somehow to application for everyday's life. But we will see.
Yeah, Yeah, that would be amazing if you were able to get that application to work. Now, you had two other co-laureates when you won the Nobel Prize, and it really is an interesting story about how the three of you kind of collaborated. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works? Because I know your research, I believe, came first, and then then the three of you kind of all worked together, building upon what you started.
It's not that we collaborated in the strict sense, but what they did, and this was very important, was to measure for the first time attosecond pulses, because what I had contributed to was to discover the technique to produce this attosecond pulse, which is called a high-order harmonic generation. And but it took 14 years for us as a community to be able to really show that these high harmonics in the time domain were a series of attosecond light pulses. And this was realized by my two colleagues independently of each other. But it's in a way, it's also a collaboration because, first of all, one of them, Pierre Agostini, I have known him since more than 40 years when I was in France. So we have been working together and we have been discussing a lot. And Ferenc Cross, I know him also for a long time. And in Europe, we have built, networks. So we have really using instruments from the European Union. We have met each other quite often, exchange ideas, and so there was really an attosecond community in Europe that it was important for this research to come through.
Now, you mentioned working on this for 14 years. There must have been a lot of ups and downs during this time because this is really difficult technology, as you mentioned. What kept you going? I mean, you must have been extremely persistent because I would imagine at times you might have thought maybe, we've gone as far as we can. What kept you going?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think to be persistent is a quality one needs to have to do good research, because obviously there are ups and downs. This was a difficult period. At the end of the 90s, I remember asking myself, oh, maybe it's time to change field, because at this time it was not easy at all to know what to do next. And we were trying to measure these attosecond pulses. And somehow then I was in Sweden, in Lund. We had picked up the wrong method, and which was really difficult. And it's really thanks to my two colleagues, Pierre Agostini and Ferenc Cross, that suddenly they showed the rest of the world how to do this type of measurements. So it was very important.
Absolutely. So what's next for you in terms of things you're working on? You talked about kind of stepping back a little bit from teaching. Obviously you're very inspiring to a whole generation of kids, but it sounds like you still love your teaching, you love your research. So what does the future hold?
Yeah, I'm doing this kind of Nobel or after Nobel kind of job, which is to answer to interviews like this, and to go around and giving lectures in schools and at universities. So this is maybe half of my time. Then I'm trying to follow what my group is doing and helping them. And of course, I do a little research. I'm doing some teaching a little bit at the university, but a little bit less than before. I still have an ambition, which is to write a textbook on this on the research I have been doing during 40 years. So it's not historical book, but really the idea is to the target is like young PhD students starting in the field. That I would really like to do, but it takes a lot of time.
I was going to say, with all the research that you've done, I mean, that would be quite the endeavor, but I think it's probably something that would be really welcomed for students to have, for sure.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, just wanted to ask on a personal front, you're very busy doing all these work-related things. What do you do to decompress and have fun?
I am kind of visiting my family members and my sons, and I'm playing some tennis. This is my recreation.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for spending some time with us, telling us about your journey, about all your work and all your incredible accomplishments. This has been really great to have the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Autumn on the Air with Lisa Mueller. Get social with us and share your thoughts. You can tweet us at AUTM or visit us online at autm.net. We'll be back next week on the air. Be sure to join us.